This story will break your heart. There was a young girl who had an argument with her dad. She wanted to go to a party, but her dad didn't let her, so she decided to sneak out anyways. At the party, she met a guy who was a few years older than her. He asked her if she wanted to go to another party nearby, and she happily accepted. As they left to go to his car, the guy stumbled. She noticed he was drunk, but decided to get in anyways. Speeding down the highway, the boy put his arm around her and didn't seem to be paying much attention to the road. Suddenly, she was blinded by headlights and screamed in terror before everything went black. When she woke up in the hospital, she began to sob. She couldn't feel her arms or legs. She begged the nurse to deliver a message to her dad and tell him that she was so sorry and that she loves him. The nurse immediately left the room and broke down in tears. She couldn't tell her that the other person who died in the crash was her dad.
I don't get it, man. Why does God make me go through bad things, bro? If he really loves me, then why? Because God cares more about your character than he does your comfort. While he might not deliver you from your storm, he will be holding your hand right through it. He'll be with you through it, man. Trust me, bro. Trust me.
Saddest stories you haven't heard. Courtney Walden. Courtney was a very beautiful girl with kids and a husband. Her and her husband was at a bonfire when the fire went out. Her husband went to go put gas on the fire, and next thing you know, the fire shot up and she was caught on fire. She had suffered from burns on 40% of her body. While recovering in the hospital, her husband said he couldn't take anymore and left her with a daughter, no money, and a $1.5 million medical bill. This is Courtney today, happy and smiling. She got enough money raised to make a house and pay some of her bills. Fellas, if you're gonna love somebody, love them through anything, especially if they have your kid. The crazy part is it was his fault in the first place. Like this video if you want a part 2.
This story will break your heart. There was a girl named Becca and a boy named Joe. Becca was trapped in a burning house. None of the firefighters could get in because the fire was too big. Joe dressed up as one of the firemen and went into the house. When he got up the stairs, the steps fell behind him. When he got to the room she was in, he sealed the door. He held her tight and told her he loved her. She asked what was wrong and he told her he was going to die. She began to cry uncontrollably. He picked her up and jumped through the window of the 4-story house. He landed on his back and she landed on top of him. He broke her fall and was killed. He died to save her life.
You know what the saddest thing is? The nicest, kindest people will never believe a single compliment they're given, but they believe every insult.
People say dogs know things we don't, and this story of Hutchie, the most loyal dog in the world, proves it. Hutchie was found abandoned at a train station as a puppy. A man found the dog, took the dog home, but his wife wasn't as keen. Over time, the dog and the man became inseparable. The dog would walk with the man to the train station every day. The man would go off to work, and the dog would sit there patiently waiting all day long. When the man returned, the dog was stoked and came home with him. This loyalty went on for years. One morning, Hutchie was acting really weird. He didn't want his owner to go to work that day. He pulled on him and did everything he could to stop him. Turns out Hutchie knew something the man didn't. That day, the man died. Family tried to take the dog in and look after him, but the dog refused. He just kept running back to the station and waiting for his owner to come back in hope one day. Hutchie eventually died and they made a statue of him.
This story will break your heart. Once there was a boy named Bruno who was in love with a girl named Natasha. At school, he always tried to sit beside her and defended her when others made fun of her. One day, Bruno looked at Natasha in the hallway. She said, "What are you looking at, you ugly turd? Get away from me." Heartbroken, Bruno ran out of school and didn't come back. Weeks later, he turned up at school. Natasha saw him and said, "Look everyone, the turd is back," and everyone laughed at him. Bruno covered his face in embarrassment. Suddenly, a man with a gun entered the cafeteria and demanded everyone to empty their pockets. Shaking, Natasha emptied hers, but nothing came out. The man pointed the gun at her, but before he could pull the trigger, Bruno tackled him to the ground. Suddenly, a shot rang out and the man fled. Natasha ran to Bruno, who was laying on the ground. "Why would you do that?" she cried. He replied, "Why do you care? I thought I was just a turd," and died.
What you looking back for? Why you dwelling on the past? You ain't going back to it, so why you dwelling on it? That pain, that hurt, that depression, that anxiety, that being unappreciated, being undervalued. You don't want to go back to that. They don't deserve you. And you sit here probably and you ask yourself, why me? Why they gotta be taken from me? they wasn't. You were taken from them because they didn't appreciate you. They didn't deserve you. You deserve so much more. Stop dwelling on the past. It's behind you. Move forward. What's in front of you matters. Have you ever sit in your car and realized that your windshield is bigger than your rear view mirror? It's because what's behind you is so little it doesn't matter anymore. What's in front of you is the biggest opportunity that you have. And you gotta move forward. You gotta let go of the past so you can move forward into your future.
I guess I'm just too tough to cry.
I'm headed straight for the floor.
He looks happy with her son. Why wasn't he happy with me? My heart is so